Shalom Lekulam. Yesterday was October 7th, and I spent October 7th in Israel. I want to go over what it's like being in Israel on this day, what I did on this day. It was a very meaningful, emotional day being in Israel, and I can't believe it's been 2 years since that awful day. And I don't think any of us have actually recovered from that day, but also I think we are reminded of how devastating that day was. And at some points in my life, I'm like, I can't believe that's true. And then I watched the footage from yesterday. I'm like, how? Why? And it makes me upset, it makes me angry. But I do what I always do, and I reflect, and I'm like, hey, how can we move forward, and how can we become a better nation together and fight together? And I have my own way, and so on. So yesterday was also the day of Sukkot as well. So I went to go for a morning walk with a coffee, and I just felt silence. There was no building works, nothing like that. I've never felt Tel Aviv as quiet before, which was actually a weird feeling, because normally you walk around Tel Aviv and building works, people chatting, people laughing, X, Y, and Z. It's very lively. It's the 24/7 city. On October 7th, it was like I was in the middle of the countryside, and you could hear anything within 5 miles. That's what it felt like to be in Tel Aviv, and I'm sure across the whole of Israel. I felt extra special being Israel, purely because I can compare myself. Last year I wasn't in Israel, this year I was in Israel, and of course, yes, last year I was exactly the same feelings, but being here in Israel was like weirdly magical, weirdly like, wow, like this place experienced so much 2 years ago. Standing here right now, it feels weird, and that's like the feeling. Like, it's very emotional and stuff, but it's a weird feeling in a weird way. So my normal day was very normal, and I wanted to keep my normal day, because I think when you have days like this, firstly, I don't have anyone that I lost. I'm very fortunate that I don't have any friends or family that I lost. But I know many, most of my friends I know from social media did lose people. So I felt like I've lost a lot of people, but nothing like personally, which I can acknowledge that, and that's one reason I give so much back, and I do so much about the Batman stuff, because I am capable. I'm mentally feeling okay to do that, where so many people will love to give back and stuff, but actually they're still in grief, they're still mourning, they're not ready to take the next step. So I guess my responsibility to do that type of stuff, because I can. So the big thing about yesterday for me was I kind of had a normal day, but then I decided to run as Batman in the evening. So I started around 5:15 on the Tayalet, and we headed around Tel Aviv, and we headed to the Dizengoff circle, where all the hostage posters were, and a lot of people were sending their respects. There was hostage signs on the trees. It was very emotional to be there, and a lot of people were taking photos, and a lot of people recognised who I was, which I was very grateful for. I did feel one point I had the Israel flag, which is over there. I hit the tree ever so slightly, and I felt horrible, and I was very grateful the tree did not break. But that happened a few times during the run yesterday, where you're holding this huge pole, like not hitting something is kind of impossible, but luckily no damage at all. Then we went to Hoshea Square, which, I'll be honest with you, I was like, do I go or do I not? But we met someone at Dizengoff that said you should go there. So I was like, okay, let's go there. We got lost, but it was like a 15-20 minute run. And I went there, and so many people know who I was. A lot of Brits came over, people did some interviews, and there was one situation where an elderly person came up to me, was very confused why I was wearing the Batman costume, and she was like, what's the point of this? She spoke in Hebrew first, and I was like, אני לא מדבר עברית. she asked in English, and I explained about the BBAS, what I do, and her whole shift. That whole mindset shifted, and she was very grateful, and she obviously seen my stuff on social media. I didn't want to make too much of a scene there. I was very careful. Like, it wasn't my time. It's not me, and I'm totally aware of that. Like, on October 7th, yes, I post a lot of content, but it's not a day for me to get attention. It's for people who've lost friends, family, the people who've not been returned home. That's what the day is. But at the same time, I can acknowledge that I'm a symbol of hope. I do good things, and people were very grateful that I came, and people were very happy I came. People mentioned how I've inspired them. So there's obviously a balance that I'm very grateful for those kind, beautiful words. And then after that, went back to the toilet, and the toilet was orange. I don't think you've seen a more orange sunset for a year, probably. Very, very meaningful, took photos, and then after that was done. I went for a walk, but I was exhausted. We did around 1 hour 30 of movement, but 1 hour 30 of like A to B, but it was around 1 hour and 9 minutes of running at a fast pace. I was with my friend who's a great marathon runner, like probably gonna get sub-3 very, very soon. So we were going at a fast pace for myself, for my marathon, but it was really good because that's what I needed before my Toronto marathon in the suit. Whenever I do runs in Batman in Israel, for some reason Heat decides to say, hey, I'm going to give you an extra challenge today. Let me just put on a few degrees. Let's put the humidity up a bit more. Off you go. And I'm like, thank you. Because it's important training. Because if you can train in Israel with the heat, then everything else is pretty, it's not easy. I can't say those words. Manageable-ish. And then a lot of my time, I'll be honest with you, was on my phone. A lot of my time was on my phone that day. I was seeing what other people were posting. I was watching content. I was posting content, editing content. It was very much a phone day, which that itself is tough for your brain because you're on your phone so much. But then the content you see, like, I don't think I saw any content not related to this day. So you can tell that gets pretty mentally tough in regards to that. So that was a tough thing to kind of, it wasn't tough, it's just, that's what it is. And I think one of the most frustrating things for me about this day was online hate we were getting. You would think that anti-Semitism would calm it down a bit on this day, but if anything, it's the day that people are like, you know what, I'm gonna add some extra hate to them today, just because I feel like it. And I feel bad for anyone who does that. And I used to feel like sad when I got online hate. Now I feel sad for them because they're spending their time hating. Like, I understand no one's born with hate, and I know it's social media. I'm sorry, my hair is a mess right now. I was wearing a hat all morning, so I got hat hair. But when you get hate, I don't see it as my problem, it's their problem. Because their parents, their communities have instilled their hate into them, and I can't believe people around the world are still so hateful. And the lack of self-awareness, the lack of respect on this day as well. I let people mourn. And I don't want to talk about it too much because it's frustrating. But at the same time, it's something I've definitely dealt with over the last 6 years, being one of the first content creators to be Jewish, proud Jewish on social media in 2019, 2020, having Jewish in their username. I don't even want to guess the amount of anti-Semitic comments I've ever got, because I don't know. If every one nice message we get like 6 or 7 hate messages. Look at the nice comments. We get a lot of nice comments. So you think how much hate. But yesterday wasn't about anti-Semitism. It shouldn't have been anti-Semitism. Like, why were we getting Jewish hate in the comments? And it's just people just wanted to hate. And for me, it doesn't bother me. What bothers me, it doesn't bother me like personally, like my stuff. What bothers me is when I see it on other people's stuff. and I see someone who's lost their family, and I see someone who's lost their friend, and these people are sending hate and like laughing and celebrating on their posts, and I can't imagine the pain someone has to go through when they're crying, they're mourning, grieving of their best friend, their family, and the first thing someone's going to look at the comments and just laugh and celebrate it. I can't believe those, like, that's the thing that I even have to say, but that's reality of what the world we live in right now, which is really scary. But I hope the people there have had enough support and love to realise that there are other people, the people who hate opinions don't matter. And actually I hope those people can feel sorry for them, that you have lived so close to someone, and the pain you feel, the pain you have shows how much you love that person. The fact that you can love someone so much to feel that pain, that person who's giving you hate will never have that love for someone else. So I was just trying to think a little positive of a very negative time. So I think that my people I've lost in my life, because when I get so sad, I'm so grateful that I was able to have those happy feelings. I know it's the same with pets, animals. I actually don't have a pet. I have 4 siblings, but I don't have any pets. But I know my friends who are pets, they're devastated after losing thing. And I think just loss is all really, really tough. But the fact you can love someone and have those emotions, so happy into that emotion, just means how much they meant to you. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, that we can have those emotions, because I promise you, on the other side, there's no emotions. They don't know what that love thing doesn't exist. So I would be so happy I can have those loving moments right now. And it makes me very grateful, and I'm totally aware of everything, and I'm very grateful for my life right now, and just making the most of each day. So that's what it was like in Israel. A meaningful day, but an important reminder that we've got to keep going, got to keep fighting, online and offline. Have a meaningful day.